Today we're going to be looking at a pair of ultra-compact travel strollers, the Joolz Aer and the Babyzen Yoyo 2. Both of these are really top of the pack as far as we're concerned, at least when you're looking at ultra-compacts in relation to what the original concept was meant to be, airline travel and holiday use. Deciding between these two models may be difficult for some people, as both share a variety of similar features. Both fold down to within cabin luggage limits, both have inbuilt shoulder straps and travel bags, both are similarly sized in relation to their seats, canopies, shopping baskets, and wheels, and most importantly, both are built by very technically proficient design teams who definitely have structural strength and longevity in mind. All this being said, there are differences between these models, both in terms of comfort and use characteristics, as well as mechanics. So let's get started then, beginning with the Aer. The Aer folds down to 53.5 by 45 by 21.5 centimeters and weighs 6 kilos. It can take 18 kilos of weight in the seat and 5 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. When it comes to the seat, the Aer is decently sized and is even a tad larger than most other ultra-compacts on the wider market, both in terms of width as well as overall length. As far as the method for reclining the seat goes, the Aer makes use of a relatively long zipper for initially releasing the seat from its fully upright position, which can be a tad fiddly, but otherwise involves a more common drawstrap type system activated on one side. One important thing to note about the Aer seat is that the overall positioning of the footrest, which is a tad too recessed beneath the seat, is such that we highly recommend considering the leg rest accessory as a necessary purchase. Without it, child comfort will be limited to younger toddlers, while with it, the Aer offers one of the better seating setups for this sort of stroller on the overall market. And in addition, it's relatively cheap in comparison to similar accessories from other models. As far as sun coverage is concerned, the Aer incorporates the common design of having an extendable portion zipped into the rear of the canopy, and offers decent coverage as a result. When it comes to general functionality and ease of use beyond the seat, the Aer has several advantages over the wider market, most important among these being the fold, the chief factor by which ultra-compacts are designed, which is a handle-located, one-handed, one-step fold, and in practice, the Aer's folding system allows the model to very easily flip open or closed as needed. The combination of good structural strength, this one-handed fold, and the fact that the Aer also folds down to within the IATA's hand luggage guidelines makes for a unique combination, difficult to find on the current market. On top of this, the model sports a sufficiently high handle and a decently accessible shopping basket for a model of its size, and also includes a shoulder strap for convenient carrying, which is an awesome inclusion for lighter strollers, and is particularly useful for travel, holiday situations, where space often suddenly becomes an issue, such as when you're stuck in tight lines or on crowded public transport. Mechanically, though one-hand folds require a certain degree of internal complexity, Joolz, as usual, has kept this to a minimum, and despite the fact that the overall structure of the Aer is actually quite common on the current market, the inclusion of a plethora of strong crossbars welded to the chassis at multiple points, the clever way in which the sidebars have been angled, and the overall quality of materials involved in its internal mechanisms give the entire construction of the Aer a symmetrical sturdiness quite uncommon among other models built with the same idea in mind. As far as drivability is concerned, as an ultra-compact travel stroller, the Aer is subject to the common size constraints always involved in building such models, and has relatively small wheels as a result. This means that it will struggle to tackle terrain any rougher than really the lightest of urban and suburban surfaces, smooth pavement and indoor environments being preferable. Realize when I say this, though, that with very few exceptions and none that meet the hand luggage requirements of the IATA, this is a more or less universal truth of strollers of this class. And that being said, the Aer does have a certain degree of suspension, and its wheels are well fitted to the chassis, meaning that, in the course of a holiday adventure, should one be forced to traverse cobblestones or other rougher terrain, the Aer will manage without sustaining significant wear, though it is of course a bad idea to plan on using the model over such terrain as any sort of a regular thing. Okay, let's move on and have a look at the Yoyo 2 then. The Yoyo 2 folds down to 52 by 44 by 18 centimeters, also within the hand luggage guidelines of the IATA, and weighs 6.2 kilos. It can take 22 kilos in the seat, and like the Aer, can carry 5 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. Regarding the seat, the Yoyo 2 is built in a pretty no-nonsense manner, and is both sturdy and decently padded. As far as size is concerned, though its seat is slightly smaller than that of the Aer, this is made up for by a much better positioning of the footrest, giving the model a better age span with regards to older toddlers. As far as the mechanism responsible for regulating the recline goes, the Yoyo 2's more conventionally constructed drawstrap system, located right in the center of the seat back, is a lot easier and more intuitive than that on the Aer. For sun coverage, the Yoyo 2 has a sun flap rather than a true extendable canopy, and, as with the Aer, it's possible to purchase an adjustable leg rest as an extra accessory, though it's not exactly a necessity in the case of the Yoyo 2. As far as the materials with which the seat is constructed, while the quality of the textiles of the Yoyo 2 are more or less equivalent to those on the Air, the Yoyo 2's back and baseboard system are built in a sturdier manner, consisting of solid plastic sheeting and integrated directly onto the chassis. When it comes to other aspects of comfort and use, the Yoyo 2's handle is slightly higher than the Air. In fact, it's slightly higher than all other ultra compacts that we're aware of. And while the Yoyo 2 doesn't have a one-hand fold, its fold is not complicated by any measure, and the payoff for its simple two-step fold is that the model is able to avoid the problems related to internal wires and small components that can often cause problems a few years down the road. For carrying, the Yoyo 2 also has an inbuilt shoulder strap, and I personally prefer the design of its strap over that on the Air as the material feels a bit more sturdy and it's also a bit longer. Looking at the overall structure of both of these models, I would say that, despite the high standards in Joolz design, the Yoyo 2 is still both a little sturdier and simpler in its engineering. The sturdier part is simply a matter of materials. If you noticed, when I listed the weights and measurements for these two models, the Yoyo 2 is both smaller and a tad heavier than the Air. This weight disparity is partly a result of the choice of materials used in the base and backboard of the seats, as I've already discussed, but it also reflects other areas of the chassis as well, where at several points, both the bars and joints on the Yoyo 2 are built thicker and are connected in a more rugged manner. The simpler part comes primarily in how the Yoyo 2 folds, by using three very basic localized activation mechanisms, as opposed to a singular mechanism as one would have with a one-hand fold, and which requires a certain degree of internal complexity in the form of wires and smaller moving components. In this way, the Yoyo 2 is able to avoid even having the potential for the kind of internal problems that one-hand fold models are susceptible to, purely by virtue of not compromising on its design simplicity. Driving-wise, though the Yoyo 2 also has a certain degree of suspension and well-fitted wheels, the size of the front wheels, as well as just its general size and weight, make the Yoyo 2 equally as unsuitable as the Air for anything other than pretty smooth urban terrain. As with the Air, the Yoyo 2 won't take significant damage by the occasional need to traverse bumpy ground, but the ride won't be very comfortable, and prolonged use over rougher terrain will cause the model to loosen up at a quicker rate than it would otherwise. So, which of these models will suit you best? To start with, I'm going to assume that you're looking for an ultra-compact travel stroller, as in for traveling. If this is not the case, then neither of these models is right for you. You need to be looking for something a tad larger, like at least the UPPAbaby Minu or the Joolz Hub. If for no other reason, then at least for the added structural integrity needed for daily use. Otherwise, there are pluses and minuses to choosing either of these two models. With the Air, you get a one-hand fold, and both the travel bag and rain cover included with purchase. The rain cover is an extra accessory for the Yoyo 2. But you ought to consider the adjustable leg rest as a necessary purchase as well. While with the Yoyo 2, you get a model that is a bit sturdier and simpler in design, whose incredible longevity has already been proven for nearly a decade. As a last note, if you're considering buying one of these two models, we highly recommend that you watch our standalone reviews as they go into a bit more depth than we've done here today. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you are currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.